welcome back to the 5 O'Clock Sweats podcast, the podcast where we like to talk about the things we like to do when we're off the clock, not working. Tonight, I'm Ryan, joined by the most handsome, the one and only, the inflappable, the sexy, the just handsome, just all-around great guy.
Hey, everybody. My name is Derick. This is my normal voice. I don't know why I did that. But I did. and now it's now. Oh, man, it's gone so
You just
bad.
don't like getting complimented. It's okay.
I don't know what to do with my body when it happens.
It's okay. I feel you. But anyway, so tonight we're going to do an episode that we are going to call What We're Watching. And the idea with these episodes, we're planning for them to be monthly, and we're going to essentially just talk about what we're watching. And that can be anything from movies, TV, YouTube, whatever. I guess those are really
I feel
the
like
three
our
main
minds
ways of
went
watching.
to the same place.
Yeah.
And that's very concerning.
Yeah, you guys can you can make assumptions based off that. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to just talk about what we've been watching. Again, we're planning for this to be a monthly episode, a monthly topic. So we'll just keep, we're going to keep watching things, and we're going to keep talking about them every month. We'll see what they are. But yeah, tonight, I know Derick and we've been watching some things. Some anime, of course. Some real life. Some real people with real actors. And then some maybe some internet, some YouTube things as well.
Some internet.
Some internet things. Derick, I know your list is a lot larger than mine. Now, it's not about size, but do you want to start, or how should we do this? Do you want to go back and forth, or should we just each take the floor?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've divided my list up into, we're at the end of an anime season right now, but
yes, we are.
A lot of the anime still have a episode left because we're in the last week here. So I have completed anime and still in progress. Derick is still watching them anime. I don't know how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4 in completed anime.
Yeah,
that seems pretty tame. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in progress. So maybe you take the floor, and then I'll just at some point unload.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, my list is a lot shorter, but again, it's about quality, not quantity.
Oh yeah, and I can guarantee you the quality of my list is far inferior to the quality of yours.
We'll see about that. Anyway, yeah. So I'll just run down some things that I've been watching recently. Again, some of them, like Derick just said, some of them I've finished. Some of them I'm still watching because they are either still airing or I'm just catching up on them. But I'm going to go ahead and start with, let's do Arcane Season 2. Arcane Season 2 was great. It was really good. I loved it. Because it had a lot of hype to live up to with Arcane Season 1, which had come out, I believe that was like 2020, 2021. So we've been waiting for a few years for this to come out. And it actually came out, I think, back in like November or December. I'd actually just not gotten around to watching it. But through the grapevine, I had, or through, I guess, through X, I had heard a lot of good things about this show. Rightfully so. I was just a little worried that, maybe it wouldn't hit the mark. Maybe it wouldn't live up to the hype of the first season, because the first season was incredible. But I'm happy to report that after watching the full season, it did indeed hit the mark. It did indeed live up to the hype. It was really good. The animation quality in this show is it's special. It really is special. It's just like you're watching art every episode, and the music as well is great. Derick, I know you haven't watched this yet. I'm gonna keep saying this has to be added to your list at some point.
And
it's a really easy watch.
No.
It's only 2 seasons, 8 episodes each, and they're only about like 40 to 50 minutes. Like really good, really easy. But yeah, this season was very, similar to the first season in regards to like style. There's extended scenes where it just feels like an AMV almost, where there's like just music, like really good songs playing in the background. There's like some crazy visuals happening. And then the story was good as well. And this is a League of Legends universe show. I know nothing about League of Legends. I've played maybe an hour of it in my entire life, and it doesn't matter.
Me too.
You don't need to know anything about League of Legends to like this show, which is what I love about it. Obviously, there's some Easter eggs in there. If you are a League of Legends fan, if you see them and you've played the games, you're like, oh, I know that person. I don't feel that, so I just appreciate the characters for who they are and how they're presented in the show. And yeah, this season was great. It had a lot of emotion. It was an emotional roller coaster, a lot of action, a lot of great character development, and a satisfying conclusion, kind of a sad conclusion, and we'll see what happens in the future seasons.
Now, is season 2 a continuation or a like direct sequel to season 1?
Yep, literally as soon as the first season ends, the second season picks up.
Okay.
There's a climactic event that happens at the end of the first season, and we're picking up the pieces per se, literally, in the start of season 2. So yeah, it's a direct sequel, which I appreciate. Introducing new characters, and they just continued the arcs of some of the ones introduced from the first season. And some of them went in directions I thought they'd go. Some of them went in directions I didn't think they'd go, which is great. But yeah, can't recommend Arcane enough. I was really happy that season 2 lived up to the hype, and I'm excited for season 3 whenever that comes out. Hopefully, we don't have to wait as long. But a show with this quality of animation, like the 3D kind of almost comic booky looking style, a lot of TLC goes into this show. So as long as they need to take to give us peak again, I'm fine with waiting. So I'll move on to let's do one that I'm still watching, that is still airing, that I've liked a lot so far, and that is White Lotus. White Lotus season 3.
Yeah, so what's up with White Lotus? I've heard the name a lot. I know I asked you about it off mic. I think last recording, but give me another rundown on what White Lotus is.
Yeah, so White Lotus is basically just a show about these rich people, like a group of rich people, and there's usually some pretty well-known actors in there mixed in with some other lesser-known actors. They all go to this resort. They take place in different parts of the world. Like one was in Hawaii this season is in Thailand, I believe. They're just the same resort. It's called the White Lotus Resort, and they're just located in different parts of the world. And each season takes place at a different location with a different group of people. And they're usually just a bunch of rich people that go to this resort to get away from reality. They all have some sort of baggage with them, and then they all go to this resort, and then shit ensues. Shit hits the fan. Usually, like the
construction of that sentence. I was like, they shit.
They shit.
Oh my god!
Everywhere. No, just things. Some dramatic things happen. Some just batshit crazy things happen, and it just gets more and more crazy as the season goes on. Like they lay the breadcrumbs early on, then these people start to interact with each other. Arcs start to happen, relationships start to happen, et cetera, et cetera. Like, yeah, it's just it's crazy. It's great TV. It's like a reality TV show, except it's not. It's you kind of just watching the proverbial car crash as it happens. You just can't look away. This season is, very much like the other seasons in that sense, and I'm a big fan of it so far. I'd say the most recognizable actor in it is Walton Goggins, who was in the most recent was in Fallout, and he's also in a bunch of other things. He's by far, Yeah, he is one of my favorite characters this season. He's the standout. But then there's a couple of other actors that I like. There's a girl in it who is a character in Sex Education on Netflix that I like a lot. This is the only thing I've seen her in outside of that show, so it's nice to see her. And she is, she's basically like the same character, just a little less ditzy in this show. But I enjoy her performance a lot. But yeah, the season's great. There's a new episode tonight as of recording, and I'll be watching it, after we're done recording. I think it's episode 5 now, so we're about halfway through the season at this point. So yeah, I'm excited. It's been fun. Another show I highly recommend if you just like, especially if you're like a reality TV fan. Like, this is just like, it's like reality TV, except obviously it's very scripted. But yeah, it's just seeing these people interact and then just like seeing basically their worlds just crumble. Some of them, not all of them crumble. Some of them, some of them come out of it better. But a lot of the people come out worse than they were before. Or dead.
I feel like that might have convinced me to actually see what this one's about.
It's very good. I highly recommend it.
I've heard the name White Lotus a lot, especially in praises.
Yeah,
but I've never looked at it, never wanted to. But maybe I'll try. I don't know.
It's a fun show. I recommend it. And there's something about just like the weekly HBO show that just like kind of hits. Like the weekly Sunday night at 9:00. Like, I just get nostalgic for like Game of Thrones and even like House of the Dragon, even though that's more recent. But just having that show to look forward to at the end of each week, and then being able to talk about it like the next day with people, it's nice. It makes me feel a little warm and fuzzy on the inside. Moving on.
We got to keep the pace up.
Yeah, I know.
It's my fault.
It's all right,
but that's why.
Yeah, I'll speed it up a little bit. So
you don't have to. I feel bad.
Another show. So I'll do another show with real life actors in the Fargo season 1, which I think I've already talked about, but I have since finished it. Man, this show was good. The show is really good. This is a anthology series, so each season introduces new characters and a brand new story, but set in the same universe or town or whatever you want to call it. But I've only seen season 1. I'm starting season 2, but I've seen season 1 to completion, and it was fantastic. It has Billy Bob Thornton. It has what's his face? The guy from The Hobbit, Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman. Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure we had this exact conversation last time we talked about Fargo.
Yep. Colin Hanks is in it, and then some other people and a couple people I kind of recognize, but those are the leads, the standouts. And it was just really good. It was a great like mystery, action, drama, murder mystery sort of season. It was just really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The one, like Martin Freeman's character in particular, had a really good arc. Like, to start it, like, you're kind of feeling bad for him. He's kind of down on his luck, and then by the end of it, you're like, this guy's kind of a piece of shit.
So The Hobbit.
Yeah, The Hobbit. Yeah, The Hobbit. By the end of it, you're Bilbo goes bad. Basically, you're not a big fan of Bilbo by the end of it.
With a little asterisk there that I've only ever seen The Hobbit one time, and it was like 5 weeks ago or whatever.
Oh, that's pretty recent. Billy Bob Thornton is great though. Like, this dude, I don't know if he's underappreciated or not. For me, he is. Like, and like, I feel like I underappreciate Billy Bob Thornton. He is such a good actor. Everything he's in, I've loved, and he just steals the scene whenever he's in it. And it's no different in this show. He is by far the best character in this show. He's so captivating, so great at just like sinking his teeth into a role and just running with it and just, giving it his all. He's so good. So can't recommend Fargo season 1 enough. I hope these other seasons are as good. I hope they don't take like the True Detective route where they're not as good as season 1. Hopefully Fargo season 2 is good. First episode was good. So we'll see. Hopefully it goes up from there. But yeah, Fargo season 1. Loved it.
This is one that has definitely been on my radar as well. I mean, just based on the name, I know I've heard the name Fargo around for, I mean, according to Wikipedia, since at least 2014. So
yeah,
I've been hearing about it for a while. Maybe I should also look into this one.
And I had seen the movie years ago, and I really liked the original movie. So yeah, hearing the show was good. I finally got around to watching it. Yeah, no regrets. Movie we should definitely watch sometime, though. That would be might be a good movie to check out and talk about in the pod sometime. Let's move on. So another show that I've watched that is a cartoon, not an anime, but a cartoon. Invincible, season 3. Invincible. So it was, yeah. I just binged it this past week.
From season 1, episode 1.
No, sorry. Just season 3.
Oh, okay.
8 episodes. This show was good. It was good. Another show that I had heard that this season was, great, and I finally got around to watching it. I loved the first couple seasons. Very anime inspired, but it's not an anime technically, although you can definitely tell like some of the stylistic choices of the show are definitely heavily inspired by anime, but the show is great. Just about superheroed people with questionable moral compasses, kind of reminiscent of The Boys, although not to that extent per se. There's really only one main character from the first couple seasons that fits the bill for like those type of heroes, but yeah, the show is great. This season in particular, it felt a little like a bunch, like there was some like common thread stories throughout the season, but then a lot of the episodes felt like side quests kind of. I was talking about this with somebody over this weekend, and I was like, the season was good, but it was like a little strange with like the storytelling aspect. But then like there were a couple of common threads, and then just a lot of like side quests that like helped for character building and everything, which is great. But then like the last episode in particular, this episode fucking hit. This was one of the best episodes of the series. Might have been the best episode of the whole series. I mean, then this, like when I say like this show is like, it's not an anime, but it basically should be. Like this episode is why I think that. It was just very action packed. A lot of the fighting choreography, a lot of like the cinematography, very anime-esque. But the voice actors in the show are fantastic. Like you have Steven Yeun, who's been in a bunch of things, Beef, and then he was Glenn in Walking Dead. And you also have like Walton Goggins as another voice actor for one of the main guys in the show. J.K. Simmons, Seth Rogen, like you have just a bunch of like stars and then some of the side characters are also voiced by some pretty big names too. So it's just a very entertaining show. And like as a big anime fan, like this show just really scratches that itch for me, and I still like find a lot of enjoyment in it. It's also incredibly gory. Like really amps up the gore, especially in these last couple episodes, in particular this last episode.
That's sick, actually.
Which I appreciate. Yeah, it's really good.
I think my only exposure to this show, is this where the meme is from of the guy pointing at like an airplane or something, and he's like, "Look what they need to do to replicate a sliver of our power," or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's my only frame of reference for this
you would love this show.
Intellectual property.
You in particular would love this show. Yeah, it's great. I can't recommend it enough. The season 3 was great. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. Was I just can't recommend enough to you, and I can't recommend enough to anybody else listening who is on the fence about watching it. Definitely watch it. It's great. Blue Box, which you're going to talk about, but we're still watching this. There's one episode left.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this show previously on the podcast, but I really like this show. This show is quality, like slice of life, romance, sports, anime, all in one. It really hits the mark. I love the animation style. I love like the character design. Like it just looks very nice and pretty. The sports action when it happens is very well done. But I also just love like it's a very realistic portrayal of like romance in high school. Like it's just very well done. There's basically a love triangle between these three characters, and you know, the one
I'm trying not to get upset.
I know. Well, the most recent episode kind of like put us through the ringer emotionally. The pre-ultimate episode to the season finale. But yeah, I just think the show does everything very well. Like every genre it's trying to hit, it does each great, and I'm just very pleased with this show. And it's been fun to, because I didn't watch it for a few weeks. It was fun to catch up on it and binge it. And I'm fully caught up now, and I appreciate the show. I like it. These types of animes are a nice kind of change of pace from like the action shonen types.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really appreciate it. And I like the sports resonates with me, obviously, and I'm also a big like romance anime fan, so it scratches that itch too.
Yeah,
it does a little bit of everything for me. So
no, I think the last time we brought this one up on the pod, I think we were on the same page about what we would rate this. So given that you've now caught up to, what is that, episode 24 out of 25?
Yeah.
Where do you think this is right now?
Let's see. I'm probably going to give it about an 8.5 out of 10.
Yep, we're still right locked in with each other. I have an 8 or a 9 so far because it depends on that final episode.
Yeah.
With that last episode left, there are a few open loops that I think they need to close. Depending on which loops they close and how they close them will determine whether or not this is an 8 or a 9 for me.
Yeah. And this show also, like, all three of the main leads are very likable. Like, I love Hina. I love
Hina.
I love Taiki, right?
Yeah.
And then China, is that her name?
Chinatsu.
Oh yeah, Chinatsu. Chino, however you want to say it. All three of them great and very distinct too. Like it just, yeah, they do a great job. And also small shout out to the opening and the ending for this show. They're both, especially in the second half of the season, so good, so great.
It makes it more poignant.
It does, yeah.
It's crazy.
Now, the visuals are great. The music's really nice.
Spoilers? Is that something we should avoid for this episode?
Because
I'm realizing I just randomly took notes. Well, not randomly, but I do have stuff included about plot points.
I mean, we can talk about spoilers. We'll put a spoiler warning out there for people that are watching or listening.
Yeah, that's kind of all of these episodes, I guess. But again, massive spoiler alert. If you want to know about Blue Box, or if you don't want to know about Blue Box, just skip on ahead. I thought he was always going to reject Hina.
Oh yeah, I knew it was inevitable.
Yeah, just the way that the show is structured. I mean, you could see that one coming from a mile away, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect him to be so like
blunt,
like categorically no. Like even when she was like, "Oh well, you know, no matter what you feel, he's like, no, I'm not going to," and that was so different for me.
Yeah,
like especially in romance animes, I thought that added to the heartbreak of just watching Hina get destroyed.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it seemed out of character for Taiki, but like it's part of his development throughout the season. Like he's realizing that he can't do this anymore. Like he needs to, make a decision. He needs to stop leading Hina on. And he just he really just put his foot down and just said straight up, like, no, this isn't happening. I don't care how much you love me. I don't even know how Chinatsu feels about me, but I know that I don't want to be with you in that way.
Man,
which
it's
a shame. Well,
it is the right decision.
Yeah, I'm happy for him to do that. But Hina,
I just wish it was her.
Hina's such a likable character too. She's great.
Yeah,
she's such a good person.
I had a fear for how this might turn out that may still come true, though they've introduced something that I think makes it not true. But I thought that maybe Hina was the girl that Sho liked, the other badminton friend.
Oh.
And I thought that Sho was just waiting for Hina, who was waiting for Taiki, who was waiting for Chinatsu. And it was just like a whole line of them not actually in love with the person that loves him back, you know? And I was so convinced that was still going to be the ending, even though the silhouette that they showed of the girl the Sho liked doesn't look anything like Hina. However, they did introduce him and maybe Ayame, Karen's little sister.
Yep.
So I'm kind of hoping that they get together just so that whole like chain of people isn't true.
Yeah, I feel like they're laying the breadcrumbs for that potentially. So
so that calms my fears a little bit there.
Has this been greenlit for season 2 already?
I don't know. If you ask me, I think this is a 25 episode thing. Maybe an OVA or two, and that's it.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a one-off. Like this is going to be a one season, and then we wash our hands of it. Because, after like assuming, I don't know. We'll see how the last episode goes, but like where do they go from there? Like,
yeah, I think it has to be done
unless you introduce like new characters or something. But I feel like this is a very clear like where the story is done after this next episode with maybe an OVA or two that you mentioned.
If they leave the ending open after the next episode, I'm going to have to give it an 8, but I will think about giving it a 7.
Wow.
With no hesitation.
Yeah.
that was so wishy-washy of me. I might give it a 7 with no hesitation.
I don't know. Unless they announce a season 2, but I don't know. We'll see. I feel like there's a lot that needs to be wrapped up in this last episode for it to be a finale, like a series finale, but we'll see. It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. Taiki has rejected the other party, and now his sights, he knows that his sights and his like everything, he's focused on Chinatsu, like 100%, totally, completely. So and we know how she feels about him because he doesn't know, but we know as the audience, we know how she feels about him. So we'll see if he has the guts to confess his feelings for her and
he will.
How that goes.
Will she have the guts to reciprocate? I guess is what it boils down to.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, so that's Blue Bucks. I have 2 more things here I'll mention quickly. I was watching a YouTube series. I'm still watching a YouTube series for this YouTube channel. This guy's called Totally Not Mark. He does a lot of Dragon Ball things, but he has been watching Jujutsu Kaisen for the first time and reviewing it as he watches it. And it's just been a lot of fun. And I like this guy when he does like these kind of longer form reviews or essays because he's very talented at writing, but he also, gets into the weeds about like storytelling and, the animation and everything. And I just really appreciate it. But he,
So how far is he into it / how far are you into watching him watch it?
So he's uploading weekly and I'm up to date. He uploaded 2 days ago and he just finished the premature death arc in season 2. So he hasn't even gotten to the meat of it yet, but he watched the prequel part and then he watched the movie. So he's watched all of season 1, premature death arc in season 2, and then the movie. And he is in love with the show, to say the least. Which how could you not be? Yeah, exactly. How could you not be? So just hearing him talk about, because I'm so used to hearing him talk about Dragon Ball, and then just hearing him talk about like another show that I love in JJK, and then just, and I'm always like I'm a sucker for like watching things with people, and it's their first time watching it, and just knowing that they're gonna love it. Like like it's one of my favorite things in the world. So like this is kind of, I'm getting that sort of feeling listening to him watch this show for the first time and hearing his reaction. So it just kind of scratches that itch for me. But I'm really enjoying this series so far, and obviously, I'm guessing the next episode will be his last one. He's done 2 so far, or 3. He's done 3 so far, and this will be a 4th one that'll probably finish the rest of season 2. So I'm super excited for that one. That'll come out next week at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, I wanted to mix in some YouTube there. But the last thing that I've watched this last month that I want to talk about is a movie, actually. It is called Beautiful Boy. And I don't know if you've heard of this movie, but...
No, I'm struggling on trying to figure out how to Google this. Oh, found it. Cool. Okay.
So it is a movie with Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet. And
close.
And yeah, Chevrolet.
I remember when this came out, because I remember seeing Steve Carell in it in like a role that we're not used to seeing him in, and I thought it'd be interesting. And
it's not a comedy. It's not a
7 more years passed, and I just never thought about it again.
Yeah, so this movie came out, 7 years ago, and I was just scrolling through. I was actually at my mom's house with my girlfriend, and we were just finding something. We were trying to find something to watch, and we went by this movie. And like, my mom in particular is a sucker for these types of movies. I like them too. My girlfriend had seen it, and she was like, "This movie's great. You have to watch it." So we watched it. Man, this shit was fucking heartbreaking. It was great. It was really good. But man, is it a tough watch? It is tough. It's so good though. It'll rip your heart out. It'll make you feel warm and fuzzy, all in the span of like 5 minutes. It's crazy. Steve Carell's great. I mean, Steve Carell's just a great actor. Like he does obviously the comedy really well, but he can deliver really dramatic, and highly emotional roles when he has to. And this one is, there's not a lot of comedy in this role. Like he's mostly having to deal with highly traumatic and emotional moments in this movie, and he does it so well. And Timothée Chalamet, like obviously I've only really known him from Dune, a couple other things, but he, most famously Dune. But he's great in this movie too. It is a little, I don't know what he was in before this, but this is probably one of his first bigger movies that he did. And he's so charming, but he's also just, it's a movie about drug addiction. And, he is the drug addict in this movie. And it's just very sad because, you can see like how great of a kid and a person that he is when he's, not using. And then when he's using, he's a junkie, and it sucks. And it's just like really sad, but yeah, the movie's great. I'm gonna have to watch it. It's highly emotional. Get ready. Get some tissues out. But I mean,
get some napkins.
Napkins, tissues, toilet paper. I don't know. Whatever. Towels. Sleeves, wet wipes. I don't know. But yeah, movie's great. Highly recommend it. But it is a emotional roller coaster to say the least. It's on Prime, I believe. So if you have Prime, check it out.
I think I might.
Yeah.
I need to be in the headspace for it.
Yeah.
But as soon as I feel like I'm down to watch it, I will just fire that off.
Do it. Please. But anyway, that's all I have going on. That's all I've watched really for the last month, couple weeks or whatever. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Derick now, who's going to hit us with a long list of things he's watched.
It's not that bad. I have to. It's not that bad.
All right.
It's pretty bad. First up, So we'll go through stuff that's already completed. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is stuff that is currently airing this season. So the first one, I guess, in order of ascending order of how I rated them, is Sorairo Utility. This is the golf anime that I think I randomly send you pictures of every now and then.
Tell me how it is.
I looked up all the descriptions for these on AniList, and some of them are a little bit lacking, so I wrote my own for this one. But there's a girl named Aoba Minami, and she has no real like strengths or passions or dreams or anything. And that's something that she wants to change now that she's a high school student. She's a dedicated gamer, but wants to find something special, I think is what she called it. But she ends up meeting a girl that ends up being a genius golfer, Akane Haruka, at the local driving range. And together with their influencer friend, Hoshimi Ayaka, they discover the different ways people can enjoy golf. It's really actually full of golf, which I like.
Okay, that's cool.
I feel like there are some sports animes that are a little sports light. This is not
like
one of
Blue
them.
Box, a little bit.
Yeah, Blue Box kind of focused on the stuff that I'd rather them focus on.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
while at the same time under delivering on the things that I still do for sure want to see. Like if we got 24 episodes of mainly badminton, I would have been fine with that. But I think what we got is a lot better. But the ratio of actual golf to slice of life was like right in a sweet spot for me, I think. I did like this one. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
All right, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I feel like 7 is the line for I liked it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
And I think that something they did especially well was like wide shots, especially outdoors. The reason I started taking notes on this was because of one of those wide shots in the last episode of just Minami like center of the frame with big blue sky behind her. I'm like, that's just good.
That's cinema.
This is good, man.
That's pure cinema.
Yeah. Check it out if you like golf.
Yeah, I've heard about this one, and you've talked about it with me, but I've seen it also in passing, and a golf anime. Give me it.
Really relaxing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's like a mixture of cute girls doing cute things and the Iyashike like feel good anime. And then it's also just a sports anime. So like those three things just kind of meeting in the middle was nice.
I'm sold.
Next up is Sakamoto Days. You watched a little bit of this, right?
Yeah, I didn't include it because I don't think I'd watched enough to really give my full thoughts on it. But yeah, I have started it. I do like it. I need to watch more of it though to get a better opinion on it.
The AniList description, I don't know if I'm going to stick with doing this through the whole episode, but when Sakamoto meets Ayoi, the convenience store clerk, it's love at first sight. And just like that, he retires. Sakamoto gets married, has a daughter, opens a mom and pop shop store in a quiet town, and completely transforms into a plus-sized man. To ensure a peaceful life with his beloved family, the legendary ex-hitman bands together with comrades to face off against the looming threat of assassins. This
that's very accurate.
Going into it, I was very excited. I heard a lot of great things about this from the manga readers, but I feel like this followed a very typical like season structure just for any TV program, which is kind of like for me at least, a reverse bell curve of my interest. Yeah. Where there's a bit in the beginning where like you're meeting everybody, like all the characters, and then maybe midway through the season it kind of slumps, and that's when like everything is business as usual, right? Standard operating procedure. Like, there's hitmen coming after us. Here's what we're doing to stop them. That's like the normal pace of it. And then again, you go back up towards the end, because I mean, there's some other all the plot lines for the characters all kind of intersect in the last I don't know, 2 episodes.
Okay.
Which I always appreciate when things come together like that. In terms of animation, I wrote here that my opinion of it's kind of colored by the fact that I did hear some of that stuff from the manga readers. They were very excited for the combat specifically to be animated very well. Yeah. And even though I think that they did do that, I think really in terms of combat animation, the only one who gets any actual impact is Sakamoto himself. Which, I mean, makes sense. He's the legendary hitman. He's not like just some of these random side characters, you know? But like there are 2 other characters, Shin and Liu. They're both physically capable, but you know, when they're in the fights, the fights just lack that it factor.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
I like Shin is the blonde-haired guy. Kind of looks like Edward Elric a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him, but I do feel like his scenes, at least from what I've watched so far, were not as captivating or not as well thought out or not as, I don't know, it not nearly as well done as the Sakamoto scenes.
Yeah. And he's not as experienced as Sakamoto, so it also makes sense.
He's also a professional hitman.
But we want to see it, you know?
Yeah.
One thing that bothers me about this show actively is the opening. The opening for this show takes fucking forever to get started. It's like, I wrote here, I feel like the band made the song, and then the animators were like, oh, fuck, what do I do for like the first 30 seconds before the words come up? And it's spelling out the title, Sakamoto Days, letter by letter.
Yeah.
And that's the first part of the intro. And then the second part of the intro is a hoo, 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 or whatever. Also still intro. So they just show the logo for Sakamoto Days with other stuff going on. And then it finally gets to the words. And then they start like showing characters. And I'm like, what? I mean, that's just like 20 seconds front loaded onto this thing of just spelling Sakamoto Days and showing the words Sakamoto Days. And we're already halfway through the opening.
Yeah, they dropped the ball with the opening. I mean, in a world where like some animes, you know, we're almost, I'm not gonna say we're the golden age of anime openings, but we've had some pretty fucking awesome anime openings, especially these last few months. And to drop the ball like that, like you got to really captivate your audience when you know, from the start, from the opening. Like people watch anime openings hoping that the next great anime opening is about to happen, and Sakamoto Days did not deliver on that front, unfortunately.
I've given this one a 7 out of 10. I was on the line between 7 and 8, but this was an 11 episode season, and I was a bit let down that they ended it after 11. I thought if there was another episode, I probably would have bumped it up to an 8.
So it's over.
It is over. Yes.
Okay.
I'm still in my completed anime section.
I'll have to
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. I'll have to binge it, finish it.
Yeah. Next on the list. I'm getting married to a girl I hate in my class.
Love the title.
Yep. Description from AniList. High school student Hojo Saito is set to inherit his grandfather's major corporation. First, he must marry Sakaramori Akane, the girl he despises the most and who hates him just as much. The two are determined to keep their unexpected marriage a secret from their classmates. But as they begin their newlywed life, the distance between them starts to close. This one became one of my favorites this season.
Yeah.
I think that the relationship between the two main characters, though forced, also develops very naturally and like at a really nice pace. And I mean, just throughout, I think the relationship is very cute.
Okay.
There is a plot line with the female main characters, female main character's best friend. And I mean, I'm sure everyone could also see that one coming from a mile away. But I was still a bit let down when the thing that I thought was going to happen happened. But after that, it actually kind of got better.
Okay.
I don't know how to do this with no spoilers. Which, sorry, dear listener, I do want to spoil things for you, but for Ryan, I have no idea if he's going to watch these things, so I don't want to say things.
I do want to watch it. Now it's a matter of will I watch it. I probably will. I need to fit it into my watching schedule. But I feel like I'm handcuffing you.
No. It's fine.
Okay.
Essentially, this plot line leads to a no holds barred situation. And the way it ends, it kind of implies that it's leading up to a sequel.
Yeah.
Because there's still a ton of unresolved plot lines. So if they just don't have a season 2, I'll be very upset.
I mean, they have to. I mean, unresolved plot lines, they have to.
Yeah, you would think, right? Though there are some anime in my completed list that definitely did not resolve. In terms of animation for this one, it seems mostly pretty straight down the middle for a romance slice of life-esque anime. There are a few fun times where they go into like a little bit more of a cartoon, like chibi mode.
Oh yeah,
that's also really cute. They don't overuse that, even though it does show up a lot.
Okay.
But I rated this one an 8, and it absolutely would have been a 9 if they ended it better. I think the ending, not only did the ending fall a little bit flat, but they didn't close enough loops for me that they opened in the season. So it just feels way too open for me.
Well, hopefully there's a season 2 for some closure.
Yeah, I think there will be. I hope there will be. We'll keep track of it. Watch this space. But the last one on my completed anime list, I know we're kind of getting up there on time, but this is one that you've expressed some interest in, and that is Orb on the Movements of the Earth.
Yes, sir.
The setting is 15th century Poland. It was a time where heretical ideas led to those who possessed such a mindset to being burned at the stake for their beliefs. The protagonist, Raffel, is a child prodigy and is expected to major in theology, which is the most important subject at the time, at the university where he plans to skip a grade. One day, however, he comes across a mysterious man and is now studying a possible truth in the midst of heretical thought. This one, I'd heard good things about before the season started. It is a 25 episode season, so it's a holdover from the previous anime season. And this one absolutely smashed the 3 episode test.
That's what I heard. That's what you told me. Yep.
After the first 3 episodes, I was like, how? So I kept watching.
Yeah.
And just like what was it, Sakamoto Days? Or
Sakamoto Days, the bell curve.
Yeah, reverse bell curve again, but because it's a 24, 25 episode season, I feel like that lull was a bit longer for me.
Yeah.
I think it's more typical for me to lose interest in longer seasons like that anyway. So I'm kind of taking that with a grain of salt. I think the macro arc for everything is super interesting. Like the idea of, the Earth being at the center of the universe, which is what the church is teaching, versus, the model that we understand now, where we revolve around the sun and then the sun is just fucking catapulting through space with reckless abandon. I think that is super interesting. And even each little like character arc within, that whole season is interesting. But for some reason, just in the middle there, like each individual episode, I had a really hard time like trying to keep my interest and focus in it. But I just kept on pushing through and I just kept on consuming.
Yeah.
And it did get better.
Hell yeah.
I texted you about this today, but I think I'm doing myself a disservice by having watched this on a projector in mostly relatively daytime, because this is about space and the night sky and about a time where, candlelight was the thing. So there's a lot of very dark scenes. And I think that a lot of those scenes would look stunning on an OLED display. Now, I don't think I own any OLED displays other than, I don't know, maybe one of my devices, but I don't think I'm going to rewatch all of Orb just to confirm or deny that. Should I say this? Yeah, you know what? Because Sakamoto Days set the precedent for this, this is another one where all of the threads that you didn't think would be connect in the last couple episodes. And for the last handful, just every time something came up, I was like, holy shit, you're here? Like, what are you doing here? And like, I thought it was really cool. Like one character has a lisp now for a very specific reason. I'm like, that's great. And because it's like space themed and the way they all think about it, like the introduction of one character isn't framed solely in just like years. It's like in terms of where Saturn was in the sky. And like, that's pretty cool. Essentially it's like, hey, I was a kid last time Saturn was in the sky in this exact space, and now I'm 39. Which is just the way they framed it was so good.
Okay.
I give this one a 9.
And that's with that reverse bell curve in the middle of the season.
Yeah. Shouts out to Oxy in the middle of the season there. Oxy did Oxy's job pretty well. But I was not about that middle arc. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm excited to talk to you about that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely, that's probably the next anime, that and Apothecary Diaries, because I've been seeing more and more about that, and I knew I think there's a new season coming out, but anyway, that and Orb are up there for me for the next animes I'm going to watch, and it's probably going to be Orb. I'll probably watch that first.
Yeah, at least that one has a full season that is aired.
I've been seeing a lot of talk about it too, so I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, let me know. I'll freak out via your text message inbox. But that does it for the anime that are complete from this season. There are some incomplete ones, but we are running a little late on time. Do you want me to just run through them?
Yeah. run through them. If there's any that I want to comment on, I will. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, interestingly, the first one on this list is the Apothecary Diaries. So there is already a full season out there. We are currently halfway through season 2. There's 11 episodes out as of the time of recording, 11 out of 24. And here's the description from AniList, because I was too lazy to type a paragraph for 18 different animes on my own. Mao Mao lived a peaceful life with her apothecary father, until one day she's sold as a lowly servant to the emperor's palace. But she wasn't made for a compliant life among royalty. So when imperial heirs fall ill, she decides to step in and find a cure. This catches the eye of Jinshi, a handsome palace official who promotes her. Now she's making a name for herself, solving medical mysteries. The first bullet point I have here says, gosh darn it, they did it again. She's just so good at figuring shit out. The literal only complaint is that no matter how many infographics I see about this very specific topic, which is like the emperor's family tree.
Yeah.
Even though I understand where the leaves come off of each branch and which leaf belongs where and who was a baby when somebody else was also a baby, I understand the situation. I just cannot hold all that information in my head at the same time. About two very specific people, I just, it does not process inside of me. Which that's the only that's pretty spoiler free, especially since we're in second season now, and the animation is just so pleasing to my eye. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots. I've seen some. I've seen. I think I watched the trailer. Yeah, it looks stunning. I'm excited.
I think the colors especially are amazing. They give the characters so much life. The setting of the inner palace or whatever, with all the colors and the stuff that they can afford because they're rich. Like it's just so good. And you love anime eyes. Mao Mao's got some.
I do. I've seen nice some of these eyes.
So one thing I do wonder about the season is how much we'll continue some of the plot lines from the first season. There's some macro stuff going on, but there's some stuff we really haven't seen from the first season that I thought we were going to get to, and we're like halfway through now. So like we haven't picked up on Lacan or any of that. We haven't picked back up with any of the girls in the pleasure district. All of the concubines seem to be behaving for now. So whatever's going on, I'm excited for the second half of this season. So far I've pegged this one as a 9.
And what was first season?
First season, I can go back and tell you. The only thing I would have to do is go to that in my 9.
So we're still on course.
Yeah, par for the course. That Apothecary Diaries is very good.
All right.
So no matter which one you go to there, Orb or Apothecary Diaries, there's no wrong move, in my opinion. Next up, I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time.
This is on my watch list.
I'm going to skip reading the description, honestly, for probably the rest of this list. But I heard about this, and when I saw that, some of the voice actresses I recognized, I was like, yeah, we'll give this one a try. Because this is one of the animes that has one of those titles.
One of those, yeah. Yeah.
And I haven't really watched one of those. So I decided to give this one a try. And I thought it was going to be some like dumb anime with like shitty character development, poor plot lines, subpar animation. But I think honestly I was wrong on all counts. Alina is the name of the main character, and she kind of shifts throughout the season, and those different shifts are really poignant, I think. Especially one involving a adventurer friend she had when she was a child. I think the plot that leads to the kind of secret quest stuff is kind of weird, but the secret quests themselves are actually kind of interesting. Some of the animation does look a little corny. Especially with a guy named Jade. He has a skill called Sigurth Wall, which is like a tanking defensive skill.
Okay.
And I mean, it's just hard to draw what you think magic looks like to begin with. And then when you have a guy who uses magic with a shield, like how do you make that look powerful, you know?
CGI?
It's
I'm going to guess, but who knows?
Yeah, I can't quite remember. But one of the things that I sent to you specifically was the opening for this one, because the opening, it's like a love letter or like a homage to like Studio Ghibli.
I did watch it.
It's like a Ghibli-fied universe of this, right? But a lot of the stuff in the opening just doesn't show up in the anime.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Like, really?
like the thing that she's riding on to fly over over the ocean.
Not in the show
never seen that thing in my life.
Thing was sick. Like, why is this in the show?
Yeah, and the rest of it is just like, I don't know, their universe if it was done by Studio Ghibli. But the ending also is like bubblegum pop, super cute. And I actually kind of love it.
Hey.
No, so I gave this one an 8.
All right. 8's good.
8 so far.
8 so far,
8 so far. I think that's probably going to be pretty... Well, that's going to hold pretty level there. Another one I watched is called Honey Lemon Soda. This is a romance anime, and it goes through... It addresses the trope of like shy bullied girl gets saved by popular / confident partner. I've seen a handful of these in the last couple months, and I think that one I brought up on the pod before, Kimi ni Todoke, is probably better than this. I think that Komi Can't Communicate is also probably better than this. And then I think it's Honey Lemon Soda after that. Episode 11 in particular was really good. The animation and direction were a very extreme departure from the rest of the series. But the way that they animated it with their like cutesy pastel style, along with some of the style from the ending, was it just worked for this one. Somebody said on one of the forums, like, it's very monogatari, but cute instead of avant-garde. But because you haven't watched this one, I'll say that this is a 7 so far. I think it's falling a little bit short.
To grow. Maybe.
The reason I think I feel weird watching this one is because the main character's voice actor just always sounds angry. Like he's always just growling and shit. And I get that he's supposed to be kind of like
edgy,
cool, tough, you know what I mean? But he just kind of sounds pissed off all the time, even when he's talking to the main character. And I don't know. Just wasn't for me.
7's not bad though.
Yeah, 7. I still liked it.
You still like it?
Yeah, I just don't like that choice in the voice actor. I Have a Crush at Work. That's another one I'm watching.
Cute.
This one surprised me, and it's also one of the gems of my season. I think the relationship between the two main characters is very cozy, And there are a lot of different facets to the relationship that sets it apart from relationships in other anime. They have a reputation for not really getting along at work, but they remain generally cold towards They remain generally cold towards each other. It's weird being stuck in my own thoughts. But they comfort each other in different ways. And they understand the things that are kind of going on in each other's lives, and they support each other, which was very nice. There's also a second relationship that starts to bud for two other characters in the show, and I felt like their situation much better fit the title of actually having a crush at work. But I picked this one up mostly because it sounded cute, but also because I've always felt bad about not getting Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku. Because I watched that at the same time as the Yamada-kun one, Level 999, and I think I watched them too close together that I just didn't especially like either of them. And I thought this one was a way to kind of apologize for not getting that other one. I actually have this as a 9 so far.
Wow.
They have one more episode, so if they stick the landing, that's where it's going to go. If not, it's falling down to 8.
Still, though, it's high up there.
Next one is Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms.
Yes.
This one started out really, really cute. We've seen a lot of these tropes before, right? Like the everybody loves this girl trope, and the perfect girl is actually just a little punk inside trope, and like they like each other, they just misunderstand each other at every step trope. And I did come up with examples for all of those, but we can brush past that. I think the way that pretty much every one of those tropes dissolves over the course of the season is really cute, because we go from having all those tropes to kind of like subverting all of the expectations, and I think it's really cool.
I did start that one, actually. A couple weeks ago I did start it. I do like it. I just gotta keep watching it.
Yeah, it is good. I think that there is a rival that appears midway through the season, and I do actually think that Medaka probably makes a better couple with that other girl instead. But of course, I'm rooting for Mona.
Yeah,
the main character. I do have a problem with this in that I cannot hold this and another anime in my head at the same time. Like whenever I see that an episode of one of them is dropping, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one that I'm watching. And then the other episode drops. I'm like, oh right, I forgot about you. This one, again, 8 so far, 9 if the last episode is a banger. Just because the way the penultimate episode ended was, I like that they had a little callback in there.
Okay.
I'm going to skip one. I'm just going to go to solo leveling.
Da-da-dun.
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 So, I will say, the plot for this season 2, is a little bit lacking. He just kind of started the season really strong, got stronger throughout the season via grinding, got an elixir, and that was basically the end of his plot line. That was it. Yeah, everything he wanted to do, he did, done, wiped his hands of it.
The show could have ended right there, and realistically.
And then, bang. Jeju Island, raid numero 4. And here he is. we have, one episode left of this? Yeah, one episode left of this. And I wrote down, so at least we'll get some whoop-assin' soon. Boy, did we get some whoop-assin' in this most recent episode.
Oh, yeah.
Golly. I told you a little bit about the spoiler that I saw I'm not going to talk about it here, but solo leveling, you get you are 8.9. If you can so convince me even just a little bit, you're getting a 9. It's these last few episodes have been just so good.
So I'm current with this one as well, which you're aware of. I did not mention it because I knew you were going to mention it, and yeah, this season's been so much fun. It's been fun. It is lacking in maybe the narrative department a little bit, but I don't really care at this point. I don't think the show is supposed to be some deep narrative, intricately written with plot threads all throughout type of show. It's just action shonen, and yeah, we're getting that. It's big time. Mm-hmm. This last episode was breathtaking. It was a spectacle. It was awesome, and yeah, I would take that. Well, I'm not gonna say I would take that over Good Story because that's not fair, but for the inner child in me, and like if I just want to turn my brain off, I'll take that most of the time. For the show specifically, it's a power fantasy show, and we got the power and fantasy. And
dude, I am so excited for like what the hell is going to be next. Like we talked about it a little bit, but like what is going to be next? I
have no idea what's next. Honestly, I really don't. I don't know. I'm not going to try to spoil myself or anything, but I am very curious where it goes from here.
And the last one airing this season is Zenshu. This is an isekai that I decided to pick up just because the premise sounded cool. So for this one, I will read the description from AniList, and that is: after graduating from high school, Natsuko Hirose starts her career as an animator. Her talent quickly flourishes, and she makes her debut as a director in no time. Her first anime becomes a massive hit, sparking a social phenomenon and earning her recognition as an up-and-coming genius director. Her next project is set to be a romantic comedy movie themed around first love. However, having never been in love herself, Natsuko struggles to understand the concept of first love, and as a result, she's unable to create the storyboard, causing the movie production to come to a standstill. This one, again, I picked it up because I'm like an animator getting isekai'd into a fantasy world, and her power is animating. Sounds cool.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, sounds really cool.
Yeah, I wrote here, it's an unusual isekai, and the premise felt fresh to me. Unfortunately, again, this hits another reverse bell curve for me. Maybe I just I have more expectations for the middle of any TV show seasons. But there's just a stretch of episodes in the middle where it's kind of like business as usual, protecting the last town, defeating voids. And then we have the end game arc, which is nice. I think that the exploration of the creative process is cool. She is really stuck in doing things her own way in the real world, and she ends up like not really being able to connect with people at work and just kind of not living up to her own potential because she's in her own way. But she learns to deal with that and all the kind of pitfalls of the creative process. She deals with her own inadequacies, but it's too late. It's no use. She has to find a way to save her friends, but it's too late. It's no use. And again, I love that her power in this world is animation. Yeah. And when she whips her power out, it only she can't do it on command. She has to wait for her little peg bar to say you have to draw now.
Okay.
But it's her power manifesting is just another magical girl transformation, and the animation of the transformation into an animator is like a love letter to animation itself. It's like a weird layers of meta around it.
That's cool.
But before the final episode, I had this rated as a 6. Oh, this is one that's actually completed. Sorry.
Okay.
Because I watched the last episode today because it came out today, and it brought it up from a 6 to an 8
Oh, what? 2?
Yeah. I thought this was just going to be kind of a nothing burger, but seeing Luke Braveheart change in the last 2 to 3 episodes and how they resolve it, I think they did a great job. So that's what I'm watching.
That's quite the finale then, if it brought it up from a 6 to an 8. Damn, that's pretty good.
And just in other news, the Rocket League RLCS, they have their Birmingham major going on. And since 2016, the 3v3 format has been the only mode in RLCS. This year, for the first time, they have introduced 1v1 to the major. Ooh. And it is electric. I did only watch the European events, not the South America events. But I thought it was really cool to see a lot of the players that I know from 3v3 do their thing in 1v1. I think Atto in particular did extremely well to make it as far as he did. That's probably all I'll say about that. I've been real into Rocket League lately.
1v1 Rocket League.
Yeah, that sounds. I am a one's main, unfortunately. Okay. So that's kind of where that comes from. And Formula One is back, baby. Last weekend was the Australian Grand Prix. I feel sorry for a lot of the folks there. A lot of people went out in the wet conditions early in the race. Isak Hadjar went off on the formation lap. He just tried to put the power down. His wheel was on a white painted line, slipped out. Dunzo. I was so sad for him because I saw it, like everyone on the broadcast was like, you can see him crying in his helmet. Man, this is his first race. I feel so bad for him. Didn't even get this started. But he does sound like he knows he has more pace in the car. So I feel like I have high hopes for him for the future. Jack Doohan also made it. He at least started the race, but he only made it 5 turns in before he upshifted on a white line. Also just kind of a little bit too slippery, spun him into the wall. And this is his home GP. He really needed to show up and show out, especially with the super sub from last year, Franco Colapinto, just waiting in the wings at Alpine. Hopefully Briatore gives him more than 5 races, but I'm not so sure. I'd love to see him stay on the grid. Carlos Sainz also lost it in his first GP for his new team, Williams. He spins under the safety car, which is super unfortunate.
Oh, man.
So it wasn't just the rookies going out, but the only bright spot I can think of for Sainz spinning is that I bet when Hadjar heard that, he was less sad because Hadjar spun before the race even started and he was out. So to see other rookies spinning out, you don't feel that great. But when someone as experienced as Carlos Sainz, you hear he's in the wall, you're like, okay, I don't feel as bad about what I did anymore.
Yeah.
43-year-old Fernando Alonso also just took a very normal line through turn 6 and it just spit him out and spun him into the wall. That one just looked really fucking weird. Poor Oscar Piastri, the homeboy from Melbourne, was trying to tiptoe around the track with dry tires while the rain dumped in the last final couple of turns. Went off, almost completely beached himself on the grass, but was only able to get out by reversing through the grass back onto the track.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
So at least he didn't DNF his home Grand Prix. But boy, he was on pace to be on the podium. And finally, Liam Lawson did something very similar to Hadjar at the same time that Gabriel Bortoleto lost it in the final few corners, bringing out the final safety car of that hectic race. That's how Australia went. And Shanghai was this morning. My first bullet point is literally this morning. The sprint race was yesterday, which saw 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton claim his first ever sprint format victory and in his first for his new team, Scuderia Ferrari. However, Ferrari's pace did not show up today. They finished on the road with like a middling amount of points. Like, it wasn't great. They could have probably gotten higher up, but they also could have gotten lower down, which unfortunately was where they ended up after the race. Charles Leclerc, his car got disqualified for being underweight, similar to what happened to George Russell in Spa 2024.
That sucks.
And Lewis Hamilton also got disqualified for an excessively worn skid. They just misjudged it, apparently. That's the report from the team. They thought the skid would be fine, and by the finest of margins, it was not.
I feel like someone gets fired for that.
We'll see. For this one, the grid seemed fairly mixed up overall, which is good. We kind of don't want to see like all the cars kind of bunch up in their teams, because then you kind of know what the pecking order is going to be. The fact that this was mixed up was awesome. This is also the first time we're seeing cars in like full race trim for the dry, because Australia was wet. So this is like one of the first like true benchmarks of car versus car in the dry. Congrats to Williams, double points haul, only by virtue of Sainz inheriting a single point because of the disqualifications of Ferrari and Pierre Gasly. The Mercedes seems consistently quick and well behaved, but not the quickest. McLaren seems very fast, but a bit temperamental, according to the drivers. Ferrari seems like they have mega pace when they nail the setup, but they don't. Red Bull is really just Max. I mean, Liam Lawson's really struggling, and there's now even rumors that we might see Yuki in that seat really soon. Shouts out to Ollie Behrman, the super sub from last year, or another super sub from last year. He got some overtakes done, and he came on the radio just saying "ciao" every time he passed somebody.
Ciao. That's awesome.
Poor Yuki, his front wing just imploded on one of the straights. He was driving, he went over a bump, and his front wing just decided to shit the bed, break itself. And that was it for old Yuki's race. And super lucky from Lando to manage his ever longer brake pedal in the last couple laps. It was getting real close towards the line, but yeah, McLaren won too. Can't be sad about that. That's what we've been doing in March, y'all. As the weather kind of gets better, maybe these episodes are a little bit less content filled.
We're actually touching grass a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you might be.
We'll see.
But we are thinking about doing this monthly. We'll play that by ear, see how that goes. We're also thinking about doing more of a movie book club, or I forget exactly what we called it. Sweaty movie date night, something like that.
Yeah, so movie date night, like movie date nights in general.
Yeah, we want to make sure we don't exclude moviegoers for that, because that is something we also like to do. So for the next time one of those movie book clubs comes out, we will be watching the film. I am Googling it for the actual full title. The Lord of the Rings. The War of the Rohirrim.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't want to talk over you, and then I decided to just keep on doing it. Which is available on Prime and apparently Max. So we will watch that together, and we'll discuss it together.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. We missed the boat on the theatrical release, but it's all right. We'll be able to watch it from home. An anime Lord of the Rings movie, in theory, sounds incredible. So excited to sink our teeth into it.
Yeah, so watch this space for when that episode drops. What else we got going on?
Man, for now, that's all. I mean, we're trying to brainstorm some episodes here. I mean, things are happening every day in the pop culture world, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to start playing. I want to play some new games, possibly. Chris is a little out of pocket right now with in the good way, not in the bad way. Out of pocket. He is just busy with a lot of things right now, so he'll be back in future episodes. But yeah, we're gonna keep coming out with episodes. Talking about whatever. We'll see what each week brings, but for now, we at least want to do one of these a month, one of these what we're watching, and then a movie date night. I think those are at least 2 of the weeks are covered.
Yeah, so we are tentatively calling this what we're watching. If anybody's got any suggestions for something that's clever, please reach out. You can march on down to Instagram. That's supposed to be a play on March because this is the March what we're watching, but I forgot to make that link together. But you can march on down to Instagram. We are at 5 o'clock sweats there. We are also on X with the same handle. We are on YouTube. Just look up 5 o'clock sweats. That might be where you're listening / watching us now. Ugh. And we're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Anything else, man?
No, sir.
Golly, what an episode. Look at that runtime. Well, as always, stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
At some point, I was like, all right, we're like halfway through the episode. I can still read these things out. And then it just kept on climbing, man.
Yeah, I could see it.
It was like 58 episodes. I was like, also, I watched this. You're just going to have to guess what the plot is.
When you mentioned, I didn't know if you were going to talk about F1. As soon as you mentioned F1, I was like, okay, we're going to be pushing the 90-minute mark. Let's go. Let's do it.